Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me in this end of the year interview with the designer of the world You from the film Belle. As you guys know, we started off this year with voice actress and musician Kylie McNeil. So if you guys want to see that interview, go ahead and click somewhere above you so you guys can see that awesome interview. And without further ado, here's the designer of the world You and architect illustrator Eric Wong. Before we get started on talking about your work in the film, please tell me more about yourself and the work that you do.
I'm a qualified architect, and I also work in academia teaching architecture in undergraduate school. So that's predominantly what I do.
So please tell me how exactly you got involved in this masterpiece of a film.
Yeah, so it was a crazy opportunity. I actually received an email in my junk email one day. This was, it was just so surreal. And it was an opportunity to do some concept art. And I sent through the pack, and the rest was history. It just so happened the director told me he found me online, which was very fitting for the film Belle as well, especially when it's all about online communications and everything about that, the digital world. That's where we met, where he found me, and where most of the concept art and production design took place.
What inspirations did you use, if any, to create the world of You?
You actually went through many iterations. We went through a few designs. At first it was a U-shaped castle. That was the first pack I ever sent through before reading the full script, or even before, just any of that. And then when we spoke to the director, imagined it as a sort of totem pole initially, the second time round, much like the world of Oz in Summer Wars. So it was like an homage, like a part two to it. And then as we developed it, it became the linear city that you know now in Belle, the world of You. I remember sequencing the concept art for it initially and how it zooms into a single line into this vast sort of metropolis. And he was like, "Hey, did you realize that it's similar to the opening sequence of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time?" So it was just a really happy coincidence in that sense as well, that I had that really similar opening sequence. It was also the idea of a single line being a vast city, and I guess on another level, it's also a metaphor for the river that Chizu passes through in the real world that reminds her of her mother as well, and also like a bridge. So even though everything started from a single line, it was quite fitting.
You mentioned Oz from Summer Wars and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. With all that being said, were you familiarized with Mamoto Hosoda's work?
I absolutely loved his work growing up. Digimon, Summer Wars, Wolf Children, you name it, all of them. And I guess when I received the email, I didn't associate straight away the name to the animes I watched growing up. And I was like, I had to just double check about a million times. And so who would have thought that the animes you grew up watching and loving, that one day you'd have an amazing opportunity to be a part of it, and I'm very thankful.
I'm sure it was as surreal for you as it was for Chizu when she first entered the world of You.
It's absolutely surreal. I remember doing the concept art and then talking to the director for the first time, just communicating with him directly, week on week. And I remember meeting him for the first time in London when he came for the premiere in London. And then we just met and we gave each other a big hug, and then we went for dinner, and it was just really surreal. And I just remember seeing, even though sending through those packs throughout those periods, that I'd get to see his storyboarding and his line work. And then when he drew one of the scenes of the backgrounds of You, I was like, no way, it's really going in the film. It's really becoming real. I think there was one time where the trailer came out. I think it was the second trailer, and this was around, I think it was about April 2020. And it was quite deep in lockdown in London. And I was just sitting in my bedroom late in the evening, watching the trailer for the first time. And then I was like, wow, this is real. And I genuinely almost cried when that last scene happened where Susie's just standing in the middle. So just still thankful for it nonetheless, since.
Yes, exactly what you said. And going back to right now, what you said about the ending, you can't help but to shed a tear right there in the end.
And I think the director does. He really evokes all of those emotions, the coming of age, the comedy, the laughter, the sorrow, everything, and undoubtedly the film wouldn't have been amazing without all of those qualities. That the narration, the collaborations involved, Jin Kim, Cartoon Saloon, and everyone else, Kyle Nakamura, and the English dub, and yeah, it was just amazing that with all the people involved.
Mamoto Hosoda said this during an interview that because you were working at home during the pandemic, that you were the perfect person to illustrate and design the world of you. Can you elaborate on what he meant on this?
I think it was just the idea that like we were working online, and you is all about being online and just having. I think it was a positive spin on the internet because we always see it. We tend to see it in a negative light, but there's precariousness to it, but there's also wonders to it, and there's also opportunities to meet new people. And yeah, I think it's about shedding that sort of positive light on the internet and what it could be through collaboration, through the film, and all those happy coincidences that happen.
Having seen your work already on the film, I can't reimagine another artist or illustrator designing the world of you because your illustrations and design of the world of you are so fitting to the story in the film.
Thank you very much. I think it's undoubtedly the director's vision, working together with him, being able to option out all these options week on week, and him giving that trust and opportunity to me week on week as well. And I just ran with it. I wanted to try new things. He was willing to try new things, and he gave me the opportunity.
Now, going into the process of how you designed you, did Mamoto Hosoda ever give you any strict rules to follow while designing the world of you?
So I think there was definitely no strict rules at all. It started off as a sort of short abstract of what the film was about, and then it evolved into me receiving the full script, and then I guess my approach was sort of just extrapolating some keywords from that script, such as floating metropolis, and just reading through it, a whale gliding through it, and using those words as guidelines. But then, because it was such an open word, that there was freedom to design from that something quite different, a world with no up, down, left, or right. So I kind of worked with those as parameters and springboards to propose what you see visually.
So, without that being said, how was it working with Mamoto Hosoda?
It was amazing. I mean, because I've never been part of a production design before, I didn't know, how tiered it was, how many people you have to go through before you actually get a chance to speak to the director personally. But it was a direct meeting with him week on week. It was interesting because obviously that we have a language barrier. So we, as I'm presenting, there'll be someone translating, but we'd understand each other quite easily because it was all visual. And he'd draw a sketch and show me on the screen, and he'd be nodding and doing hand gestures, and I'll be nodding as well. And I was like, exactly. And I guess when it's translated to our languages, it was like, yeah, okay, that's what I thought you said. And it was just, yeah, it was amazing. And I think the opportunity was just because week on week we try something new, whether it's from the city through to designing the stadium, through to the park, through to the app interface. So yeah, he gave me an opportunity week on week whenever the next piece felt like it was what we envisage.
That's amazing. Despite the language barrier the film was well made. I mean, it just translated over really, really wonderful. That's something that the film kind of teaches you, that no matter who you are, what language you speak, we all speak the universal language of love and care and kindness. That.
Yeah, I think animation is universal. That everyone could really enjoy it, be part of it, and naturally that's why, like you said, it was so fitting for the film. All the different avatars, all the different people, what their true self was as they enter the world of you, and the internet being that space for everyone.
So obviously, you've seen the final rendition of the film. What did you think of it?
Well, I love it. Like, on a personal level, it's obviously a milestone and a journey for me, and on another level, I think it sheds a very positive message, and on a few more other levels, it was just the chance to see what production design and what a film, how it comes together and all the people involved, and I might be wrong, but I think it's one of the first opportunities where a Japanese animation has had such a global collaboration with people all over the world, and I think that's very positive. Everyone is such well-known talents and so established that I was like, no way, I really get this opportunity to design part of it. So I think that was amazing, and I've spoken to Almu Redondo, part of Cartoon Saloon, and it was amazing to see her work. All those little cutscenes that Cartoon Saloon injected their amazing stylistic interpretations and the composition and color, and I thought that was also equally beautiful. And I think I recall the director saying that the whale and the castle was designed by someone from Final Fantasy 14-15, but correct me on that if I'm wrong. But yeah.
Yes, I think you're right. I think I heard that on the Blu-ray commentary thing behind the scenes. Yeah. And funny thing that you mentioned the whale, because that's something a lot of fans point out, is that what's the significance behind the whale? And I think this is a question better for the Mamoto Hosoda, but I'll ask you anyway. Do you know the meaning behind why Mamoto Hosoda used the whale a lot throughout his films? Because the whale is just not only exclusive for Belle, it's being used throughout his work. Do you know why he uses, in particular, why he used the whale here in Belle?
I think he has mentioned before. He does use whales quite often. He has used it previously in Summer Wars as well, and I do recall seeing it in Wolf Children, not Wolf Children, sorry, The Boy and the Beast, and right. I think he just likes whales. But I think I remember reading or hearing that he also uses animals such as the wolf and the whale, because they tend to be misunderstood, and there's something quite powerful about using these kind of animals to address certain things in much the same way that, I guess, in Wolf Children, using a wolf, you instantly address the minority or possibly race or whatever it might be, just through the animation of wolf to portray that. And I think that I always thought that was a really beautiful film.
Yes, Wolf Children. That's another tearjerker. Why? If you guys want to cry more after seeing Belle, I suggest you guys watch Wolf Children. It's going to leave you traumatized and crying for life. Not exaggerating, but yeah. Anyway, speaking about dramatizing and emotional films, what is your favorite scene from the film?
I think it just has to be the last few scenes where she's just standing right in the middle. I always enjoy the train station scene. I thought that's comedic love. It's quite cute. I guess when it cuts to the moon, I remember in an interview, someone asked, who would your true self be when you enter the world of you? What kind of avatar would it be? And then the director said, he said, Eric, you'd be somewhere near the moon. And in the same way that I think someone asked, what's your favorite aspect of it, and I think it would be the moon, because it's that light. It's actually the metaphor for you. It's a crescent moon, but it does represent you, and that light belongs to everyone. So I think that's probably one of my favorite aspects of it. And it's also the least solid moment, the most ethereal, the most part of the world, the environment, the backdrop, the light, because I recall initially we were meant to design something that represented you, so that's why I went for a U-shaped castle. And typically in animes before, you'd also have something that represents it, whether it's a giant statue, a giant sword, a giant whatever it might be, but I wanted it not to be that solid and physical, but something that's there, like. So that's what we spoke about, and we thought that would be an iconic part of you.
And to add on what you said, I think the moon is a perfect symbolism of that, because anyone in the world of you could be looking at the moon from any other angle, and they could be looking at the exact same moon. It's not like a moon exclusive to one person. Anyone in the world of you, and everywhere in the world of you, anyone could be looking at the moon, and from another angle, another person could be looking at the same moon. And then again, there's that light from the moon, the moonlight. So
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about, what sort of atmosphere or environment we wanted, having this twilight sky. So conceptually speaking, we thought the twilight sky was somewhere that always existed between golden hour and blue hour. So it always sit on this equator and horizon line. So we described it as this sort of bright night, and that's what it was.
So this following question has to do more with your work in general and not with the film. But what inspirations do you use to create your illustrations? Because your work here, despite it being architect in nature, is very linear. And although architecture is linear in itself, there's a lot of solid colors, a lot of just hardly any shadows in there. Tell me more about your inspirations behind your work here.
I think it varies from project to project. Undoubtedly, it's references I enjoyed growing up and part of architecture school, or films I've watched, or animations I've watched, or comic books I've read, or buildings that I've seen. And I think it's a mixture of all of those things, and also what's specific to the type of project I'm working on. When it's to do with the virtual world, I guess I'll associate it to more clean geometric shapes. And I love the colors used by certain cinematographers like Chris Doyle, or I love the composition of people like Wes Anderson. That's always quite straight as well. And how do I reveal the equator line in you? Would it be opening up that horizon line? And so on and so forth. And if the director is talking about a spherical stadium, who can I reference that I know of spherical type of architectures? So I think of Buckminster Fuller and the Dome over Manhattan, which is a speculative proposal, architectural one. So I think references are borrowed from many different scenes and many different places, and things I've experienced and things I love, and also things that are fitting for the film.
So what is next for you? What are your current projects?
I'm currently working on a PhD, and I'm currently still teaching architecture. I think it's a great thing to sort of give back, and also it's a way to stimulate my mind in terms of design, architecturally as well. And I guess I'm open to any opportunities in the future that will come my way. Hopefully not through the junk email and through my mail.
With that being said, you'll be accepting more opportunities to work on other films.
That'll be an amazing opportunity. I think that the skill sets that you develop in architecture school or any creative industry has the opportunity to be cross-disciplinary, and I'm just always thankful for the opportunity.
So now that you've had your architecture illustrations featured in what is essentially an anime film, how's the anime fandom treating you? I'm only through my Instagram account, which is Eric Wong, which is where most of my messages come through saying, wow, thank you for contributing to it. I'd love to do that growing up after architecture school, or how did you get involved, and all of those, really sweet questions that come through. I guess it's different because I remember when it first came out, it was obviously out in Japan, but because it never reached the UK at that moment of time, it didn't feel the same, because obviously the fan base is in Japan. But when it hit London and there was posters along the London Underground, it was just amazing. And also to see on a t-shirt, like on a Uniqlo t-shirt, that I grew up buying Uniqlo t-shirts. I thought that was crazy. Yes, that's right. Uniqlo did release its Belle collection with Belle on it, on the design of the shirt. Yeah.
I was just like, that's crazy. But my parents were like, yeah, buy me a few. I was like, oh, Mom, Dad. But I'm always happy to receive more love from the anime fan base.
And pretty much this concludes our interview. Thank you so much, Eric Wong, for joining us today and talking about your work in Belle.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me. And thank you for, holding a platform like this and sharing it with everyone. And hope it reaches people, hope it's insightful, and hope it inspires.
It was a pleasure speaking with you, Eric. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you guys for watching this awesome interview. Don't forget to subscribe to the Kitsune Network, you guys, to watch more awesome and exclusive interviews coming your way. If you guys are longtime viewers, thank you so much for your support. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to check out our website down below. It's got a new revamp to it, a new design. I know you guys will love it, so go ahead and check it out. Link down in the description box below. And I'll leave you guys with these awesome videos and interviews I know you'll love. Until next time.